Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is to take stacks of complex research and distill it into the highest impact knowledge that you can apply immediately.
Yeah.
Today, we're plunging into the core of employee motivation. When we think about rewarding performance, hitting a big goal or celebrating a milestone, the immediate answer is almost always cash. A bonus, a raise.
Seems like the default, right?
Exactly. It's clean, it's simple, it feels like the ultimate solution. But what if that solution, cash, is actually underperforming?
Well, it's definitely the most common tool in the manager's toolbox. But based on our deep dive into sources from Gallup, SHRM, and Workhuman, it's often far from the most effective for long-term loyalty and engagement.
Okay.
We found this really striking pattern in the data. The motivational boost you get from financial incentives, it diminishes incredibly quickly.
And that's the core psychological finding we really need to unpack. The second that extra money hits your bank account, it's like a timer starts for it to just become the new normal.
That's it, exactly. Psychologically, once you get that financial reward, you almost immediately adjust your expectations. It's called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation.
Right. So that bonus, it gets spent on bills or just kind of melts into your routine. And within a few weeks, that new pay level is simply the expectation. The feeling of being rewarded has just evaporated. You're back to square one.
So let's be really clear. We are not saying that competitive pay doesn't matter. It absolutely does. It's the foundation.
It's table stakes.
But once that foundation is in place, cash stops being a long-term strategic motivator.
Precisely. And so our mission today is to give you a data-driven toolkit, a set of recognition strategies that bypass that whole diminishing return problem. We're going to explore 12 non-monetary strategies that create a lasting emotional connection. That's the real competitive advantage.
And there's an anchor stat for this entire deep dive that just proves how important this is. It's not just a nice to have, is it?
Not at all. The finding is that employees who get high-quality, meaningful recognition are 45% less likely to leave their jobs within 2 years.
45%.
That massive retention figure proves that non-monetary acknowledgement isn't some soft, feel-good add-on. It's maybe the single most potent strategic lever you can pull in human capital management.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's figure out why a meaningful thank you can be so much more powerful than a check. So if financial rewards are transactional, they're temporary. What is it about non-monetary recognition that makes it psychologically sticky?
It connects to much deeper human drives. A financial reward basically says, I paid you for the work you did.
A transaction.
It's purely a transaction. But non-monetary recognition, when it's delivered authentically, says, I see you, I value your unique contribution, and you belong here. It satisfies these fundamental needs for acknowledgement, for purpose, for community. And that emotional connection is what drives real discretionary effort, something a transaction can never buy.
And it's that emotional connection that stops your best talent from walking out the door, which is, the holy grail for any business trying to control costs.
Oh, absolutely. And we have hard evidence on that. SHRM research shows companies with highly effective structured recognition programs experience 31% lower voluntary turnover.
Wow. 31% lower turnover.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like a cure-all.
Yeah.
But what's the catch? Does the research say this only works for a certain size of company, or is this a broad brush kind of thing?
It applies broadly, but the key is the quality and the structure of the program. That's what matters, not the size of the company. It all comes down to delivering recognition that feels authentic and personalized.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Cash is spent and forgotten. But non-cash awards, they carry what the sources call trophy value.
Trophy value, I like that. The personalized gesture, or even just the specific memory of being acknowledged in public, that lasts way longer than a paycheck.
Precisely. People remember the personalized gift, the shout out in the company meeting, or a note from the CEO for years. It validates their professional identity. They remember the story behind the reward.
So this isn't just about reducing churn. It's a strategic business decision that really hits the bottom line. What's the data say about the broader impact?
The broader case is just so compelling. Workhuman's 2024 research showed that 90% of HR professionals report that effective recognition programs improve overall business results, and 91% agree they positively affect retention.
Okay, so HR leaders see it.
And then you look at Gallup's research on highly engaged organizations, the ones driven by recognition, and they are 23% more profitable and see 18% higher productivity. These aren't minor gains. This is a fundamental competitive advantage.
Which brings us to the ROI, the ultimate return on investment. If you're listening and you run a sizable organization, what is the cost of not building this kind of recognition culture?
The sources quantify that cost vividly. A 10,000 employee organization can save over $16 million annually in turnover costs alone,
16 million.
just by making strategic recognition a central part of the culture. And when you add in the savings from recruiting, training, plus the gains in profitability, I mean, the investment in non-monetary recognition becomes the clearest financial choice you can make. This isn't soft money, it's a hard competitive imperative.
That number is just staggering. It really reframes how we should think about HR strategy. It's not a cost center, it's a lever, a powerful one.
Right.
Okay, let's shift gears. Let's get into the specifics so our listeners know exactly how to pull that lever.
Let's get into the toolkit. We've synthesized 12 powerful, proven non-monetary rewards, and we've grouped them into 3 themes. Let's start with Theme A, personalized acknowledgement and growth.
The first, and you could argue the most important, is personalized recognition. This costs attention, not budget. But the difference between recognition that works and recognition that falls flat, it's all in the specificity.
That's where the authenticity comes from. Generic praise rewards participation, specific praise rewards strategic action. The research gives us a great framework here. Instead of just saying, good effort on the project.
Right, great job.
Yeah, great job is meaningless. You have to connect the employee's action to the business outcome, so you detail the impact of their behavior.
Why is that so much more powerful?
Well, when you connect the behavior, say your attention to detail in that data analysis, to the direct business outcome, revealed insights that changed our entire product roadmap. You don't just feel acknowledged, you feel integral to the company's success. It's the difference between hearing thanks and hearing, I trust you with the next big project.
Okay, moving into investment. Number 2 is one-on-one coaching and development. This is where you show you're not just paying for past work, but investing in future potential.
Exactly. HBR research shows employees who get meaningful feedback and coaching are 5 times more likely to feel valued and 6 times more likely to invest that extra discretionary effort. But it has to be regular, monthly, bi-weekly, not just once a year.
Number 3 is closely related, career growth and skill development. If you want people to stay, you've got to show them a path forward, not just a job description.
And the LinkedIn research on this is clear. 94% of employees would stay longer at companies that invest in their career development. And this isn't always expensive training. It can be job rotations, stretch assignments, mentorship programs.
And number 4, job enrichment. This is a tricky one. It can provide growth without a promotion, but you have to avoid the trap of just giving people more work for the same pay.
That's a very real pitfall, and the sources are clear on this. Enrichment has to be about qualitative improvements, giving them more decision-making authority, letting them lead a cross-functional project, giving them more visibility to leadership. It has to be framed as trust, not just offloading tasks.
That's a great distinction. Okay, that moves us to Theme B, public validation and cultural reinforcement. So we're shifting from internal feelings to external confirmation. Strategy 5, public recognition.
This just amplifies the impact dramatically. While the direct manager is vital, the data points out that when recognition comes from a high-level leader, a CEO, it carries so much more weight. It signals what the organization really values.
But let's talk about the toxic side of this. How do we stop it from becoming a cheesy Employee of the Month program?
That's critical. The sources stress the need for values-based recognition. The acknowledgement has to be specifically tied to a company principle, like living our customer-first value. Generic public praise can actually alienate people who think the award was arbitrary. Authenticity requires that alignment with purpose.
Okay, number 6, milestone celebrations. This speaks directly to reinforcing loyalty.
And it's a huge missed opportunity. SHRM research notes that only 23% of employees strongly agree their organization recognizes professional milestones. Celebrating tenure, anniversaries, it reinforces that shared history and an employee's investment in the company.
And number 7, which is just foundational for a healthy organization, team building and social connection.
Yeah, and this isn't about mandatory fun. It's about creating the conditions for real engagement. Gallup found employees with a best friend at work are 7 times more likely to be engaged. So recognition can be providing the time and space for those connections to actually happen.
Okay, our final group, Theme C, flexibility, wellness, and the personal touch. Number 8 is flexible work arrangements and autonomy. This has definitely moved from a perk to a fundamental expectation.
And framing it as a reward for trust is so powerful. Whether it's remote work, flexible start times, or a compressed work week, Gallup confirms this leads to much higher well-being and engagement. The perceived value of that trust is just massive.
Next step number 9, additional paid time off and wellness days. This just acknowledges that performance requires recovery.
Yeah, and with a quarter of employees reporting they feel burned out very often or always, using PTO as recognition is hugely effective. You can have programs where exceptional performance earns an extra day off. It sends a message that the company values your long-term health, not just short-term output.
Number 10, we're back to low cost, high impact. Small gestures of appreciation.
This is where thoughtfulness just completely transcends the transactional. It's the handwritten thank you note left on a desk, or a manager remembering to ask about something personal an employee mentioned last week. These small, genuine moments build a real relationship.
Number 11 is creating positive work environments, both physical and cultural.
Physically, it's about things like good lighting and ergonomics. But culturally, it's about psychological safety and transparency. SHRM research shows workplace culture is the #1 factor in employee satisfaction. If the culture is toxic, no amount of recognition is going to save you.
And finally, number 12, the capstone for all of this, customized recognition. You can do everything else right, but if you deliver the wrong type of recognition to someone, you miss the mark completely.
You just have to ask. The research points out this massive missed opportunity. Only 10% of employees report ever being asked about their recognition preferences. Some people love the public spotlight. Others would absolutely hate it and would much prefer a quiet, private thank you. Tailoring it ensures it actually resonates.
That is an exhaustive and really actionable toolkit. But implementing all 12 strategies across a large distributed company, especially with remote or frontline staff, that seems almost impossible to standardize.
And that is the crucial implementation challenge that modern recognition technology is designed to solve. Traditional recognition often suffers from, well, 3 major flaws: manager inconsistency, visibility problems, and just the difficulty of measuring if any of it is working.
So technology acts as an amplifier. It gives it structure and scale. How does it specifically support these rewards we just talked about?
Modern systems provide that consistency. For instance, they allow for real-time acknowledgement. So the recognition is immediate, which strengthens the connection between the behavior and the reward. That immediacy is vital.
And it solves the visibility problem. Can imagine a central feed where everyone sees these contributions, even across different departments.
Exactly. That's the social amplification. Peers can see it, react to it, multiply the impact, and critically, these systems let you tag recognition to specific company values. That's values alignment. You're reinforcing the culture every single time someone gets recognized for innovative thinking.
But the tech is just a facilitator. Leadership has to drive the culture. What's the key to making it sustainable?
Frequency. That's the key word. The optimal recognition frequency, according to the data, is weekly or more. But get this, 29% of employees report receiving basically no recognition at all. Leaders have to model it, and the tech has to make it easy to do it often.
So once the system is running, how do you know if it's working? If it's equitable? This is where the data really matters.
It requires rigorous measurement. The technology lets you track these critical metrics. You have to look at recognition frequency. Are there teams or individuals who are being consistently missed? You look at participation rates. Is it all top-down for managers, or are peers recognizing each other, which is a much healthier sign?
And critically, recognition distribution.
That one is essential. It tracks equity. It makes sure you're not missing those crucial behind-the-scenes contributors, the quiet engineer, the essential frontline worker. And finally, you have to link it all to business outcomes. Engagement correlation. Does more recognition actually lead to better retention? You use that data to refine your strategy, start small, and then expand.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, the main takeaway seems clear. Non-monetary recognition is not a cost-saving alternative to bonuses. It's actually a superior strategic approach for building long-term loyalty and driving profit, because it hits those emotional needs that cash just can't touch.
We saw the evidence. Organizations that prioritize this are 45% less likely to see their valued employees leave. And on top of that, they get higher engagement, higher productivity, and ultimately higher profitability.
And that shift really reflects a new kind of contract with employees, doesn't it? People now prioritize purpose, growth, flexibility, and authentic appreciation right alongside their pay. That emotional piece is defining the modern workplace.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to think about. Our sources all focus on making recognition structured, frequent, and measurable. But that measurement often reveals a deep structural problem. The biggest threat to your recognition efforts might not be your budget, but a failure to ensure equitable distribution.
The quiet contributors.
Exactly. If your high visibility performers are always getting the acknowledgement while your essential behind the scenes people are consistently missed, which the metrics will show you, your program risks creating more resentment than motivation. So we'll leave you with this question. If you reviewed your distribution data right now, would it show inequity? And what systems do you need to put in place today to ensure those quiet contributions are consistently seen and celebrated?